2 Kings 2 is often used as an example of God's over-the-top extreme judgment. Let's take a look. From there, Elisha went up to Bethel. As he was walking up the path, some small boys came out of the city and jeered at him, chanting, "Go up, Baldy, go up, Baldy." He turned around, looked at them, and cursed them in the name of the Lord. Then 2 female bears came out of the woods and mauled 42 of the children. From there, Elisha went to Mount Carmel, and then he returned to Samaria. Reading this, we think, okay, hold up. Before we get to Elisha's travel plans, can we talk more about these bears? What the heck was that? The common skeptic response is, how could you worship a God who just kills children simply because they called a man bald? It's a fair question. But just as much as a story is a case for God's extreme judgment, it can also be a case for how our Western eyes so easily misunderstand the important details if we are not careful. And if we are going to understand God's rationale for judgment like this, we need to understand more carefully what's actually going on. We shall see that the prophet's life might have actually been in danger, and this attack might not have been as severe as we normally picture it. The first question is trying to nail down the age of these boys. The ESV, NIV, CSB, which I read, calls them small boys. That's an interesting choice, as if we have like 42 or more unsupervised 8-year-olds confronting this prophet. The NASB calls them young lads. That's fun. Net Bible, young boys, and NLT, just boys. All these translations are taken from the original Hebrew phrase ne'arim katarim in 223 and the word yeled in 224. Yeled tends to lean young, like child, boy, son, youth, sometimes used for infants, but you also see it used for King Rehoboam's young advisors in 1 Kings 12. So Yeled has a wide age range, but Ne'arim Ketarim, the first phrase used to introduce this group, leans older. Adolescent, young man. In the New American Commentary, Paul House writes that the phrase can refer to youths from 12 to 30 years old, referencing how it's used for Absalom and the sons of Jesse. So for this story, we're probably talking about old teenagers, maybe young adults, people old enough to know what they're doing. For us readers, though, we probably don't know what they're doing. It seems like they're just calling a guy bald. What's the big deal? Old Testament professor David Lamb points out in those times, and even in many parts of the world today, honestly, insults are taken a lot more seriously than they are in the Western world. He says, people could be severely punished for insulting leaders, rulers, kings, etc. Think about the whole idea of dueling. You insult my honor, and we will battle to the death. While in our 21st century Western mindset, it may seem like Elisha was overreacting, within his cultural context, his behavior was justified. On that note, it seems like these boys were threatening Elisha. The phrase "go on up" might refer to how his mentor Elijah went up into heaven just earlier in that same chapter, added to the fact that they're coming from Bethel, a city that was very much opposed to God at the time. Elisha's life might have been in actual danger from this mob of 40-plus teens or young men. In fact, some Greek manuscripts say that they were throwing stones at Elisha. Lamb also argues that these boys were probably not killed, since there are other accounts in Kings where people are attacked by animals, and in those cases, the Bible is explicit about them being killed. Maybe he's onto something there. You can be the judge of that one. Ultimately, we still have severe judgment from God, but I say all this because we don't help ourselves by over-exaggerating it in our heads. These were teenagers or young men, fully aware of their actions, doing something deeply offensive to a prophet of Yahweh, likely threatening him, possibly even physically harming him, and possibly were not actually killed by those bears. That is the context for God's judgment. And if you view my other videos where I talk about judgment in general, you'll see that God's judgment is an important feature of God's holiness and righteousness, both of which are good things. I encourage you to view one of those videos, which I'll pin in the comments, because the explanation of these bear attacks is not really complete without it. So, hope that helps. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.